Bayern Munich are taking on Furth on Sunday. Should be a match of David versus Goliath. Let's get right into it. Welcome to Talking Bayern, the one-stop shop for Bayern Munich content on YouTube. Today we're doing a match preview of the game between Bayern Munich and Furth. So how are Bayern doing currently? Well, Bayern are top of the table with 52 points in 22 matches. So pretty solid overall. We're 6 points out of Dortmund with a bit of space to breathe, but definitely not enough space to get complacent. Obviously, Dortmund won their last game. They have another tough game this weekend, but I think we can really close out the season and win the Bundesliga, but we don't really have too much room to slip. But Dortmund really don't have room to make any errors as well. However, the last game for Bayern was a devastating 4-2 loss for Bochum. Just a really, really embarrassing result altogether. But as for our opponents, Furth, they're doing no better. They're in dead last in the league with just 13 points in 22 games, although they have earned an impressive 8 points in their last 5 games. So the majority of their points from the season have come from the last 5 games, which is crazy. Although they're still 5 points behind anyone else, 17th. And they will almost certainly get relegated. It looks like they're turning it on a bit more. Their last result was a 2-1 win over Hertha Berlin. So out or doubtful for this match for Bayern is Alphonso Davies, Leon Goretzka, Manuel Neuer, unfortunately, and Musiala. Our lineup should look something like Ulreich and net at the back, Lucas, Sewell, Upamecano, and Pavard, or maybe Stanisic. I'd love to see Stanisic back in the lineup, but we'll see. In the midfield, Tolisso and Kimmich. In the attacking midfield, Sané, Muller, and Gnabry with Robert Lewandowski as striker. As for our opponent, they're being coached by Stefan Leitl. Out or doubtful for them will be Funk, Young, Kerr, and Nikam. And their lineup should look something like Lindenet, Itter, Viergever, Griesbach, and Meyerhofer at the back. Tillman, Christensen, Seguin, and Dudziak in the midfield. And Hergotta and Lewinling up top. So just some insights between this matchup. Furth and Bayern have met 5 times in professional football. Furth are still winless against Bayern. Furth have failed to score in 3 of these 5 matches, so obviously Bayern's a hard team to get the result against. However, Bayern lost 2-4 at Bochum after going unbeaten in 16 consecutive Bundesliga matches against newly promoted teams. The last time Bayern lost 2 consecutive Bundesliga matches against promoted teams was in 1997. Let's hope this does not happen, because this would be disastrous. I mean, losing to Bochum and Furth back-to-back, I mean, that would be absolutely horrible. Just because they're 2 back-to-back games, I know that the stats 2 consecutive, newly promoted teams, but it just happens on the schedule that we're playing them back-to-back. So that would just be horrific, honestly, if we lost this game. I'm sure we won't, fingers crossed, but who knows. With Bayern and Furth, the first place team in the league meets the last place team. In the last 18 such encounters, there has only been 1 defeat for the first place side. This was when Leipzig lost away to Ingolstadt. The last time the first place team lost at home to the 18th place team was in 1996. We're at home at the Allianz Arena. I'm sure we should get a result here, but you never know what will happen. Bayern conceded 4 goals in the first half of a Bundesliga match for the first time since 1975. So, I'm sure there's plenty more, bad stats we can pull from that game. That would be the last one I pull, but definitely, that was a bad game against Bochum, and, really hope it's not a sign for the rest of the season. Bayern have experienced their worst start to the second half of the Bundesliga season in 10 years, with only 9 points accrued in the first 5 such match days. I mean, that just sounds such a bad stat. I mean, only, 9 points in 5 games, the first time in 10 years, but those are 3 wins in 5 games. Isn't the worst, result in the entire world. I mean, yes, only 9 points. Maybe 10 would seem as better, but I don't know. Getting 9 points out of 15 isn't horrible. I mean, definitely a lot of teams would be happy with that. Obviously, Bayern wouldn't be, but I don't know. I feel like it's a bit of a loaded stat because we've definitely had streaks of worse performance before in the last 10 years. It just so happens that's the start of the season. However, the story of the season is starting to change. It doesn't really have to, though. I mean, we have the chance to keep the season on the rails, but I'm afraid another disappointment here could swing things out of control. I always try to remain optimistic, but we aren't far enough ahead of Dortmund to get complacent, and we especially can't get complacent in the second leg against Salzburg either. That was an ugly, ugly game. But the next few weeks, I think, will define this season. Hopefully we get the result against Salzburg. Hopefully we get a nice couple of results, and hopefully Dortmund drops some points, and then we can kind of, cruise a bit. Not cruise, but, get a bit more breathing room, especially while Davies and Goretzka and Neuer are out. But for my players to watch for this match, for Bayern, it has to be Robert Lewandowski. He seems like the one consistent person that has been showing up, even though Bayern has been struggling. So I'm going to predict him to score twice in this game. I know he could be still going for that Gerd Muller's record. That's his record now with 41 goals. So maybe he can beat that this year. We'll see. Hopefully he does. It's already been broken, so maybe he'll break it again. And then for our opponent, it has to be Branimir Hergotta. I mean, this guy has 7 goals so far this season for a team like Furth. That is, wildly impressive. And, he's a 7.9 XG. So it's not that just he's getting lucky, scored 7 goals. The data backs him up. This guy is legit. He is a decent striker and somebody we actually have to look out for. So by far their biggest offensive threat and by far the best player on their team in my mind. So it should be a good game. I know, first 18th at home, but I'm going to predict a 3-1 win for Bayern this game. I think this could be a bit more defensively stable game. I think we're going to try to, play the tactics a little bit less. Let's just get the results against Furth. Maybe another game we'd be, maybe another time we'd be going to experiment a bit more. But right now, let's just get the result. Let's get the 3 points and move on. I don't want another headline. So let's just figure this one out. Hopefully we win this game and things get all settled. I'm sure we will. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and a comment. And if you want to see more Bayern Munich content like this in the future, please subscribe to this channel. Hope to see you on the next one. Until then, Mia Samia.